now talk about the improvements we have done in the documentation area. And the reason here, as you may have seen, if you go into DeveloperWorks today, you will see a message that it will be sunset on March 31. And quite a lot of our documentation for RCRT is located on DeveloperWorks. So we have started the effort of moving over everything. And we decided to put it inside the Eclipse help. So we have everything in one place. So this is what it looks like right now. So if you expand this users guide section, you will now find a few additional topics here. We had previously a wiki section, which now corresponds to articles. So all this content actually comes from DeveloperWorks and has the same attachments and same content. So you can find all documentations here, and in some cases links to other places as well, and videos and everything. What we also decided was to include the newsletters also. I know some of you receive newsletters, some people don't, but we actually by now have released quite a lot of good newsletters that contain good information that you may want to read, not only when you receive the email, but also afterwards. So we decided to put all that here also in the documentation. You will see here also placeholders at this point for the blogs, the release, and the utilities. These things we don't think make sense to have in the installation, but they will instead be available in the online version of this Eclipse Info Center that we publish on our documentation server. So I will come back to that later. But one benefit with having this content in the Eclipse help is that now you can also sort or search for it. So if you go here and do, you can start actually up here. So if you search for something like a Git integration, you will find a few commands, but of course there is also this search Git integration in help. And if you do this, you will now find information that you didn't find before. So here you can see one article that we have. In this particular case, there is a PDF also. You can click it and read it here if you like to do it. Another example is if you want to find something from a newsletter, you might want to know something about keyboard shortcuts. So previously you didn't get much matches for this, but now you get the best artist keyboard shortcuts, which actually is information that was published in a newsletter some time ago. So we think it's quite useful to have this information searchable and available here inside the tool also. And as I mentioned, eventually, not at this point in time, but eventually we will also publish this information to our web server. And we are currently waiting to get a new domain, or at least a URL that we can use for publishing the RCRT documentation. But it will look something like this. This is from one of our test machines. So you see the same structure as I showed you in the tool, but now also we have populated this utilities and releases. And there will actually also be a blogs there where we will have blogs. So for example, in utilities, you have the model fix-up and a few other links. So here is where we will, starting from now, we will publish our model fix-up plugins here instead of on DeveloperWorks. You can find the information about releases here if you go to the releases page. And this contains exactly the same information as we previously have in DeveloperWorks, including installation instruction and what's new presentations and changes that we did in various sprints and releases. So all that information is there.
Matthias, just one question. Would it be possible to include in these type of pages also information about the links to the new Eclipse versions, features, and CDT new versions, features? Because we are continuously doing it on our side whenever we do uplifts, but it makes sense that when we do the bigger uplifts on your side, that you just provide us links.
Yeah, so is this what you mean, the Eclipse version, the CDT version that we use for each sprint?
Yes, but then features that we get through that new version, and also CDT, if we uplift the CDT version, again, linked to the new features.
Yeah, so the features, you have these included changes, which is like all, these are like customer reported issues that you get fixed in the release. And then you also have this what's new presentation, which is the presentation we create after each sprint to we update it to make it complete with regards to that sprint. And then there will be also a third link here that is not present yet, which is the blogs link, where we, for each sprint, we also write a small blog that kind of summarizes all the new features that you get in that sprint.
Yes, but what I was after, just when you are putting the link to the new Eclipse version, you can put, instead of just text, the link to the Eclipse delivery pages where we see immediately their information about a complete list of the new features.
You mean here on this place somewhere?
Yes.
Because now it's actually it is in on the first slide here. So if you go up here on the first slide, you will see. Well, not in this. No, sorry. I need to go one level up here. What's new presentation for RTist 10.3 starts by. No, it didn't actually. This is the wrong version. There used to be a summary of Eclipse features at the beginning of these presentations. So yeah, a link here we could add at least, but it is the same. As you can see, it's we didn't change the Eclipse version in a long time here. So maybe we can have it somewhere here, maybe. This one could be a link.
Yeah.
The Eclipse photon, yeah. Yeah, that's a good.
And CDT as well.
Yes.
Great, thanks.
Yep. So if you have links on your internal wikis that point at DeveloperWorks, you have still 2 months to update them, but eventually you need to redirect them to point at these pages. And this URL is not yet, as you can see, it's a local thing we have on our local environment, but it will look something like this, I think. rsrt.hcl.com help and so on. But we are still ordering this URL from our IT department, so it will still take some time. But we'll let you know when it's ready.